Hello and welcome back to the channel for another UFC Fight Night betting card prediction and DraftKings picks. Last week was a great card that brought in some solid returns. This week's card is a little more difficult, but I think there are a few fights that can bring in some decent value. As always, don't forget to subscribe to the channel and hit that like button. It really helps us grow. Now, let's get started. We're back for UFC Fight Night, Garcia vs Onama. As I mentioned earlier, this card has a few tricky matchups, but there are some fights where I see clear betting opportunities. Overall, I'd suggest caution when betting this card, but I'll give my full opinion at the end of the video. Main event: Featherweight Division, Steve Garcia vs David Onama. In this fight, we have two dangerous strikers with solid ground games. Both men carry knockout power and can end a fight at any moment. I believe this fight won't go the distance as both have the ability to put the other away early. This is a close one because there's clear upside on both sides, but my pick will be Steve Garcia to take the win. I'll be betting the under here, but I have to advise caution because of the volatility of this matchup. On DraftKings, I'll have 45% of my lineups for Garcia and 25% for Onama. Alright, so in the heavyweight division, we've got Waldo Cortes Acosta taking on Ante Delija. Here we have a striker with solid takedown defense in Acosta going up against a UFC newcomer in Delija. Delija is a strong striker with legitimate knockout power and honestly, pretty decent ground defense as well. If Acosta can keep moving and mix in some grappling, he can edge out a decision, but if he stands and trades, I believe he'll get knocked out. My pick is Ante Delija, but remember, in the heavyweight division, one punch can change everything. So hedge your bets carefully. Personally, I'll be doing a straight bet on Delija and a few parlays. On DraftKings, I'll have about 35% of my lineups for Delija and 20% for Acosta. Next up, in the welterweight division, it's Jeremiah Wells vs Themba Gorimbo. We've got two strikers here with good ground games and real power. Wells has serious knockout ability and strong takedown defense, but, honestly, he's often a bit too hittable. Gorimbo, on the other hand, has the length, reach, and better grappling to make this a chess match. One mistake could end the fight, but I'm siding with Themba Gorimbo to get it done. I do see a path for Wells to pull off the upset, so hedge cautiously. On DraftKings, I'll have 30% of my lineups for Gorimbo and 20% for Wells. Moving on to the featherweight division, we've got Isaac Dulgarian vs Yadier Del Valle. Both fighters are well-rounded and bring strong skills to the cage. Del Valle is the faster striker with good grappling, while Dulgarian is physically stronger and more dominant on the ground. I believe this will be one of the best fights of the night. It's close, but I'll side with Isaac Dulgarian. If he can mix in his striking with his ground game, he should take the win. However, I see value in Del Valle as the underdog, so I'll sprinkle a small bet on him and include him in a few parlays. On DraftKings, I'll have 30% equal lineups for both fighters. Welterweight division, Charles Radka vs Daniel Frunze. This should be a fun striking matchup between two aggressive fighters. Radka has solid striking with a good takedown game, while Frunze is the faster fighter with better footwork and timing. I'm leaning toward Daniel Frunze to take the win. I'll be straight betting Frunze and including him in a few parlays. On DraftKings, I'll have 35% of my lineups for Frunze and 10% for Radka. Catchweight bout, Alan Nascimento vs Cody Durden. Durden steps in on short notice. He's a grinder who never quits and brings constant pressure. Nascimento, on the other hand, is a crisp striker with a strong ground game and excellent takedown defense. Because of the short notice nature of this bout, I'm giving the edge to Nascimento. I'll be betting the over in this fight. On DraftKings, I'll have 35% of my lineups for Nascimento and 20% for Durden. Light heavyweight division, Billy Elikana vs Kevin Christian. This is your classic striker versus grappler matchup. If the fight stays standing, Elikana has the edge, but once it hits the mat, Christian will likely dominate. This fight is volatile and can go either way, so bet carefully. My pick will be Kevin Christian, as I think he'll find a way to get the fight to the ground and possibly secure a submission. Still, If Elikana can keep it standing, he has a real shot. On DraftKings, I'll have 25% equal lineups for both fighters. Alright, up next is the bantamweight division with Timmy Kwamba versus Chang-Ho Lee. This should be an explosive striking matchup, honestly. Lee is the faster, more technical striker with great cardio and some pretty solid grappling, while Kwamba is powerful, but, a bit less polished. I'll be picking Timmy Kwamba to edge out the victory, but I'm not overly confident since Lee's speed could really make the difference. I won't be betting this fight heavily. On DraftKings, I'll have 35% equal lineups for both fighters. Moving on, we've got the middleweight division, Deontay Johnson versus Cedric Dumas. This is a battle between two strikers, the newcomer Johnson and the more experienced Dumas. I think Johnson's aggression and pressure will make the difference here. My pick is Deontay Johnson to take the win. On DraftKings, I'll have 40% of my lineups for Johnson and 10% for Dumas. Now, in the women's bantamweight division, it's Ketlen Vieira taking on Norma Dumont. Both fighters are well-rounded, but I see Dumont as the better striker with sharper technique. My pick will be Norma Dumont to get the win. Stoppen 4-star Bossin. I'll be straight betting Dumont and including her in a few parlays. On DraftKings, I'll have 35% of my lineups for Dumont and 10% for Vieira. Women's strawweight division, Alice Ardaline versus Montserrat Conejo Ruiz. This is a classic striker versus grappler matchup. Ardaline is the superior striker, while Ruiz will try to control the fight on the ground. My pick is Alice Ardaline, but I'm not overly confident since Ruiz's grappling could steal a decision. I'll be betting the over and placing a small hedge bet on Ruiz just in case. On DraftKings, I'll have 25% equal lineups for both fighters. Welterweight division, Phil Rowe against Seokyeon Ko. Rowe is a clean striker who needs to keep this fight standing to win, while Ko is more well-rounded with a dangerous ground game. If Rowe can maintain range and avoid takedowns, he should get it done. My pick is Phil Rowe, but buyer, beware. This is a risky fight to bet on. On DraftKings, I'll have 35% of my lineups for Rowe and 25% for Ko. Women's strawweight division, Talita Alankar versus Ariane Carnelossi. This is another close matchup where both fighters have solid chances. I'll be picking Talita Alankar to take the win because of her grappling advantage. I'll be betting the over and keeping my wagers light. On DraftKings, I'll have 25% of my lineups for Alankar and 15% for Carnelossi. Well, those are my picks for this fight card. I'll be honest, this card has plenty of risky matchups, so my betting will be limited this week. The upcoming cards have better opportunities for bigger profits. Please let me know in the comments who you're betting on, and how you all made out. Don't forget to hit that like button and subscribe to the channel to help us grow and keep bringing you more content. Good luck, and may the betting gods be with us all.